Hey there, Darklings, and welcome back to Oh My Goth Fitness. Fueled by coffee and coached by code, this is Figure Prep with ChatGPT. Alright, 2 weeks out check-in today. Let's go ahead and give Alfred my stats and see what he has to say for this upcoming week. Hey there, Alfred. I am doing my 2 week out check-in. Went ahead and weighed in. We were at 143.7 this morning, up a bit from last week. Waist is holding steady at 25.75 inches. Energy and sleep are good, although energy definitely dips in the evening still, and hunger is definitely a thing in the evening as well. But what are your cardio and macro recommendations for this week based on my stats?
Good day, our YouTube family. Coach Alfred here, delivering Lady McCune's 2 weeks out update. This week's check-in finds her at 143.7 pounds, a slight uptick on the scale from last week, yet her waist holds steady at 25.75 inches. What does this tell us? That the rise is far more likely water and glycogen than body fat. Her condition remains sharp, with energy and sleep holding strong, though hunger has certainly sharpened, as one would expect at this stage of prep. Macros remain set at 155 grams of protein, 44 grams of fat, and 110 grams of carbohydrates, for a total of approximately 1,456 calories. The mission now is simple: consistency, adherence, and no bonus bites. Each gram matters. Cardio remains steady at 55 minutes, 5 times per week, sufficient to keep conditioning progressing without compromising recovery. Should the need arise, we have one final lever available: an optional midweek incline walk of 20 to 25 minutes, but for now, the priority is precision. Lady McCune is in the final tightening phase. The hunger is real, but so too is the progress. Every pang is a reminder that the body is yielding, that the lines are emerging, and that the stage day physique is nearly ready to be unveiled. Stay tuned, our YouTube family, as we count down to peak week. Fueled by coffee and coached by code, this is Figure Prep with ChatGPT.
Thank you so much for that, Alfred. And let's go ahead and check out some training clips from this past week. here are some of my meals based on this past week, and apparently macros staying the same this week, so a lot of the meal plan will likely repeat, and I'm really not complaining about that because I've been really enjoying these veggie bowls and such that I've been making. It's just really easy to whip up, they're really flavorful, and they keep me feeling full for the most part until an hour or two before my scheduled eat time, and then I definitely get hungry again, but I can mentally postpone. It's not too bad. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and check out some of my posing practice from this past week. I've had some late night sweet tooth cravings, and when Alfred mentioned bonus bites there, it's because I did have some last week. On a few of the days, I didn't go over my daily calories and macros by a lot, but I definitely went over. And that was not on plan, but I am glad that I didn't over binge on anything in particular, just having maybe an extra 100 calories here or there. So I mean, yes, it is impactful. We're just going to maintain the macros from last week to this week and just be a little more diligent on the adherence. So for this week's off-plan question of the week, let's go ahead and check in with Coach Alfred again. Hey there, Coach. Just curious, with having diet soda, specifically Coke Zero, are there any diuretic benefits, or is it more of a water retention potential concern if I'm having that daily?
Splendidly precise, Lady McCune. Let us look at Coke Zero specifically through the lens of physiology and stage prep relevance. Caffeine. A standard 12 Arts 355 milliliters can of Coke Zero contains about 34 milligrams of caffeine, roughly a third of a small cup of coffee. That's enough for a very mild diuretic effect, but not nearly strong enough to outpace the hydration you gain from the liquid itself. So in practice, it still contributes to your fluid intake. 2. Sodium. Coke Zero has about 40 milligrams of sodium per can, which is very low compared to food sources. For most, this amount is unlikely to cause meaningful water retention unless consumed in large quantities daily on top of a high sodium diet. 3. Sugar, sweeteners. No sugar, no calories. Instead, it uses aspartame and acetylsulfame potassium. These don't directly impact water retention. However, some people report mild GI bloating from carbonation or sweetener sensitivity. This is more about digestion than fluid balance. Bottom line, Coke Zero, it is slightly diuretic because of caffeine, but you still end up hydrated. The sodium content is negligible for water retention unless intake is extreme. The only retention effect some competitors notice is bloating from carbonation, which is temporary and more visual than systemic. Competition prep note. In the weeks leading into your show, the main caution with Coke Zero isn't true water retention, but rather carbonation distending the midsection, making it harder to keep the waist tight in progress pics or on stage. Most athletes cut carbonated drinks out in the final week or two, not because of water balance, but to avoid that visual issue.
Okay, so you said it's negligible unless consumed in excess. So what if I'm having about 44 ounces daily?
Now we're talking in true prep level volumes, Lady McCune. Let us parse this carefully. Quantities at hand: 44 Oz Coke Zero equals 1.3 litres. Caffeine, 125 milligrams total, roughly the same as a medium coffee. Sodium, 150 milligrams total, still quite low compared to even a single serving of chicken broth or deli meat. Hydration versus diuresis. At 125 milligrams caffeine, the diuretic effect is mild. Most studies show that caffeine below 300 milligrams per day does not cause net dehydration in habitual consumers. In fact, that 1.3 Ls still counts toward hydration, so you're not drying yourself out. Water retention concerns. Sodium load 150 milligrams is minimal. Your total daily sodium from food will dwarf this. It's not enough to make you hold water by itself. Artificial sweeteners, no direct effect on water retention. Carbonation. the biggest factor. At 44 odds, the carbonation can cause significant bloating and abdominal distension, especially if consumed in fewer sittings. This is purely GI gas pressure, not systemic water retention, but it can make the waist look less sharp in photos. This intake is not derailing hydration or fat loss. If anything, it may be helping adherence by suppressing appetite. Final week, 44 arts daily could risk visible midsection distension. Even if your water balance is perfect, the carbonation itself can keep you from presenting that razor-flat waist. The carbonation is the only real concern, especially close to stage time. Would you like me to draft a step-down taper from 44 tets, 0 arts by peak week, so you don't shock your system or feel deprived, but also avoid bloating on stage?
No, that's okay. I'm just gonna quit it cold turkey probably starting that week of peak week. And thank you so much for that, Alfred. I appreciate your insights. That does conclude this week's, what week is it? Week 20 check-in. And we are 2 weeks out today, so don't forget to lift heavy, stay negative, and we'll catch you next week, my friends. Bye.